Our gospel reflection this morning comes from the Gospel of John. Today, more than ever, we are seeing and understanding that people come from all kinds of views and political points of view. Nobody sees things the same way. That's why there are divergent opinions, opposing political parties, rival cable news channels, conflicting messages on social media. In our gospel from John, we learn that people viewing a situation in very different ways is present. While Jesus is teaching in this temple area, a Pharisee drags a woman before him who had been caught in the very act of adultery. The Pharisees see her as deserving of death, and they tell Jesus, now in the law, Moses commanded to stone such a woman. The Pharisees see the situation as offering them a perfect opportunity to attack Jesus and lessen the people's admiration of the prophet from Nazareth. And so they asked Jesus if the law of Moses should be followed. The Pharisees knew that if Jesus said the woman should be freed, he would be seen as opposing the moral law and the code of his people and the teaching of Moses. However, if Jesus agreed that the adulterous woman should be stoned to death, the people would see him as contradicting his own message of forgiveness and mercy. Moreover, if Jesus consented to the stoning, he would put himself in jeopardy because the Roman occupiers prohibited the Jews from administering capital punishment. That prohibition was the reason why later in the gospel, the Jewish authorities would bring Jesus before Pilate, the Roman prosecutor, and ask him to have Jesus crucified. Their hypocrisy. He realized their motivation and their true motivation. Instead of immediately responding, he lets the tension rise as he traces in the sand with his finger. When Jesus stands up, he looks at those armed with stones and throws a challenge at them. Let the one among you who is without sin cast the first stone at her. With their self-righteous attitude knocked out of them, the Pharisees one by one slip away. That day, Jesus saw the same thing as the Pharisees did, namely, a woman guilty of adultery. After all, he warned her, go now and do not sin anymore. But Jesus also saw something beyond her sin. He saw what the woman could become if she was touched by the mercy and grace of God. Unlike the Pharisees, Jesus believed her future did not have to be determined by her past transgressions of the law of Moses. When the Pharisees only saw a woman caught in adultery, they saw a sinner who was lost. However, Jesus saw a sinner, but a sinner who could be changed. Today, Jesus continues to see us as sinners in the same way. That is why he calls us to repentance. That is why he gives us this season of Lent. And that is why he offers forgiveness in the sacrament of penance. Thankfully, the Lord does not determine our future based on our past sins and failings. But with mercy, there is more.